So, for the past month or so, I have been like reflecting a lot on like change because I have been prompted through so many motherfucking messages to like release the rigidity of, who I think I am or who I am in general so that, I can allow for change. And like honestly, this has been a thing that has been gradual for I want to say the last year. And as I am like releasing who I used to be because it was just a role. Who I used to be was just a role that I played that I was forced into that I can no longer play. And with it, I also released everybody that put me in that role and refuses to let me be anything else. And one of the like examples that really like made it make sense was kind of like how like in high school it's funny because it was just like something that somebody said during a graduation speech during high school that I was just like, what the fuck? Where like the person who went up there was just like, oh, there's not really cliques anymore. And I was just like, you're joking, right? Like, because they thought that we were more progressive than that, but they weren't on the other end of it. So they were in the more beneficial one. And it's fine because she was a kind person in general, even if she was a little bit misguided on that. But it was just like one of those things where it's just like I was thinking about it, like how they still had things like that in high school where teachers actually did give like they did play favorites with like the cheerleaders and like the drill team members and people in sports. They did, and they'll probably deny it to the highest of fucking heavens, but it was evident. It was evident, and I was also like thinking about how like there are certain groups that you participate in, like chess club or like the anime club, because that's what I was doing. And then there's the sporty people, but like there are times where those things also overlap, and not always when they like overlap does it create this like distance between friends, but sometimes it does. And like in generally speaking in life, sometimes you don't just want to be part of chess club, sometimes you want to do basketball. And then those people who never saw them doing anything other than themselves doing anything other than chess club will maybe potentially treat you differently because it's like, oh, now you're going to be one of them. And sometimes it's not about being like one of them, it's just like pursuing an interest that you have. Just because you have one interest doesn't mean you can't have another that's like conflicting. And I was just thinking about it because it's like we have like the jocks and then like the nerds, and that goes even outside of school and into like the real world. You have people that do this, you have people that do that, and then it's just like, well, now I'm internalizing a lot of negativity towards this because a lot of the people that I'm seeing doing this thing are they're not good people. But just because the people doing it are not good people doesn't necessarily mean that because you want to do it, you're not going to be a good person. Similar to like the whole chess club versus like being a jock thing. Like just because you do sports doesn't mean you're going to start bullying everybody. And I was just thinking about that and how like I've had to remove a lot of people from my life because they would not allow for me to change because of that same freaking mentality where it's just like, oh, well, if you do this, then you're going to think like this. No, I'm going to think like how I've always thought, or I'm going to adjust because new information. Actually, you know what? Let me fix that. I will never think how I always thought, because my thought process and what I'm learning second by second and day by day is changing the way that I think gradually. So, what I said last week that I believed in or what I thought is going to be different than what I'm doing now, or even next week. And especially a year from now, I would hope that something has changed. But just because some people that do certain things are bad doesn't necessarily mean all of them are bad. And just because you choose to be a different way and people can't handle that doesn't necessarily mean that you're a bad fucking person. Sometimes you just need space. And if people can't give you that space to grow, then they shouldn't be in your fucking space. It's nature to change. That's why we have fucking seasons. Even if you live in a place that technically doesn't have seasons, it still has seasons of different things growing. Because I live in a place that technically doesn't have seasons, but still, there are certain things that will die off and then regrow later because it knows what time it is. So, yeah. Like, I've just realized that I've been in a lot of situations where I would allow other people to grow. And so long as I was being that supporting force for them to, like, go after their goals, even if they wasn't listening to me but asking me for advice anyways and wasting my motherfucking breath, when it was my turn, there were always excuses on why I couldn't be supported. Or why this or why that. And so I was expected not to continue with whatever it was that I was doing. And that frustrated the shit out of me until I realized that if people will not allow me to change my belief system, my thought process, anything, then I don't want to be around them because I need that room to grow. I need that room to change. I'm allowed to change. I'm allowed to grow. I'm allowed to do whatever the fuck it is that I want because the life, it belongs to me first and foremost. And I'm not going to live my life in motherfucking misery because other people don't like the direction that I'm fucking going in. That's just it's fucking stupid. And it's so suffocating. It's suffocating. People that have made me feel like I was suffocating, I have completely removed from my life and from my energy. Because I can't take it anymore. I can't live not being able to breathe. It's already hard enough to breathe as it is. I can't live with people trying to stop me from being able to actually breathe. And it's funny because one of the things that I kept repeating in my head when I originally returned to this space with my family is I will not be a caged bird because that's what I fucking felt like. And it felt like everybody was trying so hard to keep me fucking small. And my energy, my spirit, my heart was telling me that whatever they were trying to tell me to do was not right for me. It wasn't. It wasn't right for me. And all I felt was that I was being caged so that I could not fly. And so yeah, I stopped being around them because I can't live like that. And whether or not this is legitimately what they were trying to do versus what I'm feeling, I now follow my feelings because my feelings are also linked to my fucking intuition at this point. Because if I feel that way, then that means that I'm gonna feel like I can't move either way. So whether or not, it was intentional or I'm making it up in my head, it's still my choice. You don't have to have a reason to not want to be around people. You don't. You can choose at any moment to get up and move to a different motherfucking country. So, no.